What is up, Sideways fam? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're with our buddy Roman's Is300. We're going to be talking about the Link ECU and the inline wideband that we're going to be using from AEM to get the Link ECU working and obviously have everything kind of reading out on our CAN system, on our ECU, on everything that we need. So let me jump right into it, guys. So I'm sure you guys have all seen this beautiful car. My buddy Roman's car is freaking absolutely beautiful. This car came in. It was originally set up kind of crappily in like Arizona, I think, or Vegas or something like that. 1J vvti swap, we have it on a Link G4X ECU. The drop-in EC that we typically do, this is for the JZX 110 or Verosa computer. This is kind of the wiring mess that they had done in here that I had to kind of rewire and make work for the car, because originally we didn't swap the whole entire setup in the car. The car is CD009. And we've done a bunch of work to this thing, a bunch of upgrades, a bunch of videos about this thing. You guys can go ahead and look it up on our page if you're interested. I'm sure you'll find it no problem. So what I wanted to go over is Roman's having an issue. When we go ahead and start the car up in here, he has the Link ECU CAN gauge. I'm not a huge fan of this gauge. I think there's something better that could be used, but for it being kind of small and not being a huge deal, on like having some crazy screen in the car, it's there. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna put the key in the ignition. We're gonna start the car. It's not gonna have a active wideband. We're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna show some random number. The idle's kind of funky, obviously, because the wideband's not reading. And on our inline wideband, you'll see I have a brand new box right here. I've ripped the sticker off so I can get into there without having to sit there and cut it with you guys on the phone. Here's the part number right here, brand new unit. On here, you're going to have a reset button underneath this. For your to reset and calibrate your sensor. It should stay status ready. So basically both of these should be green. Well, on his car it's saying that it's not ready. We've already replaced the wideband before, and we're thinking the controller itself is just no good. Obviously after replacing the wideband, there should be no reason why that should be happening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure and test that we have adequate power coming into this. And then we're going to go ahead and replace the unit. I'm going to show you how to calibrate these so that you can calibrate your sensor before you put it in the car. And we're going to fire it up and hope that when we fire it up, it's going to be good to go. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and pull the O2 out. Let me go ahead and unplug the O2 sensor and also start up the car and show you guys what I'm talking about the ready status of this versus the new one that we're going to be putting in right now. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get her fired up. So we can see the wideband is at 7.3 AFR. Well, I'm gonna try to let off the gas slowly because I don't remember how the idle's gonna be with this O2 not working. We got a super hunty idle, still stuck at 7.3. Probably would have to hold the gas pedal on. I'm sure the ECU is trying to calibrate and figure out what the hell's going on. But if we come out over here, wideband should be ready by now. It's been a few seconds or whatever the deal is. So we come over here to the controller and you can see the status is not ready. It's flashing. And that's pretty much been what it's been the whole time. I don't necessarily think this is having a power issue because I don't think that thing would be lighting up to begin with. But what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one out, put the new one in, and we'll see if that controller shows ready status. And we'll go ahead, I'll show you how to go ahead and do that real quick, so hold on. Alrighty, well, real quick, we gotta go ahead and remove the cover to access the button in the back, and we're gonna have to hold that down. We're gonna go ahead and connect the wideband and leave it out of the downpipe. We're gonna go ahead and turn the ignition for it because I've already wired it in to make sure that we have power. And it says right here, ready LED will say green. Press and hold the button until LED begins to flash rapidly in unison. The LED will stop flashing once the calibration is complete and the unit will return to normal operation, where the LED will say ready. So let's go ahead and go over here. And what we're gonna do is pop I've already kind of just twist wired this in real quick. We got the sensor open air right now. So let me go ahead and pop the back off, which is right here. Give me a second. Okay, so let's go ahead. See what's going on. We got ready. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and have a straight ready status. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna calibrate. We're gonna go ahead and hold this button down. Still holding it. I'm gonna go ahead and let go now. So we got a clean air calibration status is ready, and now we're calibrated. So give me a second to go ahead and put that in. Alrighty, now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is come back over here. We got the wideband in. Let's see if we got a reading and if it shows ready on the dash. Might take a second for this unit to start reading. Still having a pretty messed up reading. Let's see if the sensor is reading. Status is showing ready now. There you go. Just took a second for the wideband to warm up. So really quickly, I'm on my laptop on Roman's tuning software for the Link ECU, and just showing we do have an active lambda. We do show that we don't have any issue on anything or any errors on anything, so that's good. Everything else seems to be reading okay, so job well done. Alrighty, well, along with doing some other stuff that we're going to be doing with this thing, I just wanted to kind of run over this real quick with you guys, just so that you guys kind of knew as well with the wirings. I figured this was going to be an issue that people were going to be asking me about too. These are actually really simple. Most of the aftermarket ECUs for the older stuff as well, you'd have to have a controller like this as well. I'm assuming you could probably even use this on like an AEM V2 versus having to buy a gauge. You could just have the controller, and that probably would have worked better. I actually only found out about this item probably a few years ago. We very much are more of like an AEM Infinity, or like a, let's just say like a EMU Black style company that we used to run that stuff a lot more after Infinity phased out. So seeing this stuff, we used to always just buy the AEM actual Uego gauge and not buy the X series controller, but that's a great idea. And they're not very expensive. I want to say under 250 bucks, I think, or $280, something like that. Don't quote me on it. Obviously go check for yourself. I'm gonna have to put all this stuff away because obviously we're not gonna leave the old one and the new one in here. But real quick, you got two harnesses coming out of this thing, red and black. Power and ground, super simple, needs a good 12-volt source. Then you have all of these wires. Really, if you're gonna be running can high, can low, these wires will matter. But if you're not gonna be running can high, can low, the only wire that really matters is the white wire. The white wire will go to the ECU for your link to go ahead and read the signal coming out of your controller. So actually super simple. I do definitely not like, obviously AEM is a discontinued company now. Holley did buy them out. So I mean, like, I'm surprised they still even have these things getting produced or whatever. Maybe they're gonna change it to a Holley box at some point. But it is kind of annoying that you don't get any instructions. There's no instructions in the box. All you got is a sticker it comes with, and it came with like a QR code like this or whatever to go ahead and scan. But all it does is take you to the products page on their website. It doesn't even take you directly to the thing. You gotta type in the part number right there. You do get some connectors, some zip ties, and a bung to go ahead and weld in the exhaust if you didn't already have it. So that's pretty much all you guys need to know about it. Obviously, I tried to kind of a good picture for you guys with this thing to be kind of funny or whatever, but that's going to pretty much conclude the video, guys. So just wanted to show you guys about the Inline wideband. If you guys didn't already know about it, it's a good product. Besides it being a good product, you do have to use it for this ECU. So any questions, any concerns, anything you guys want to know, let me know. Until next time, guys, peace.